Now, y'all know my book is called White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. I told y'all that they scared about money and resources. Well, a group out of Wisconsin is suing President Joe Biden under the guise that his student loan debt relief plan is really about helping black people. Y'all, I'm not lying. The president of the Brown County Taxpayers Association, Richard Heidel, this is what he said. Student loan debt relief takes from one group of people and arbitrarily distributes the spoils to another group. The plan amounts to nothing more than a modern-day version of King George III's Stamp Act, where there was massive taxing and spending without the participation of the people's representatives. The group argues the plan violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause because it uses federal dollars to advance racial equity, even though the average white high school dropout earns more wealth than the average black college graduate, according to the Duke Center for Social Equality. We contacted the Brown County Taxpayers Association to see if someone will appear on the show. We haven't heard back from them. So where shall I begin? Here's what I find to be interesting, Robert. Yesterday, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the Alabama voting case. In it, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson quoted extensively the 14th Amendment that she made clear was about helping black people. Don't you find it funny that these fools would try to quote the 14th Amendment, saying the student loan debt relief plan is in violation of an amendment that was specifically passed to help black people?
Well, Roland, no, this is takes you back to if you study apartheid South Africa towards the end, when they knew that they no longer could politically control the country. What they did was entrench themselves in the judiciary, the former colonial rulers. And from there, they were able to dictate the economy, dictate public policy through the court system, through the bureaucratic state. This is where we are now seeing the new fight, the new battle, the civil rights movement in the second half of the 21st century going. Because Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell have spent so much work stacking the court over the course of the last decade, we're seeing many federal appeals courts that are nearly whole panels of MAGA judges. We're seeing the Supreme Court that has a 6-3 majority of MAGA judges. And they've made it clear with the Dobbs decision that every single thing that was fought for and created in the 1960s and 70s, what we traditionally consider to be the civil rights movement, will be overturned in the next 2 to 3 years. They simply need a case in controversy. I think while we've been on this show, a federal court overturned the DACA program of President Obama, putting in jeopardy the citizenship standing of millions of young children who were brought here under that program. We're also looking at affirmative action, which will probably be overturned in the next session of the Supreme Court. Voting rights, what's left of the Voting Rights Act, more than likely will be going out of the window. We're seeing the consolidation of the Heller decision and expanding that so that any sort of gun legislation will more than likely be overturned. So we need to understand the playing field that we are on, and the reason these groups are fighting through the judiciary is they know they can't win elections. The Republicans have won one popular vote this century. They know they can't control the Senate. They have 41 million more Americans being represented by the 50 Democratic senators than the 50 Republican senators, and we got a Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz. They know that they're not getting a majority back there, and they know they're not getting the White House back. So this is going to be a continued fight in the judiciary in front of MAGA judges, and we have to be prepared for that battle.
You know, Monique, I'm just curious. Do these people realize that white people get to also get student debt relief? I mean, first of all, and what they claim is because the Biden administration has said that this is going to help close the wealth gap, they're like, oh, there you go. It's race.
Right. They do know, for sure, they know that people other than black people are going to get this help. but they also know that this is an equitable solution. And when you start talking about equity, it leads to everything that you just said that they absolutely do not want. They want no leveling of playing fields whatsoever, and they want no ladders given in order for the people who are not even at ground level to be able to get up to it. And so the fact that others will also benefit, that the majority of Americans, not just the minority, would benefit matters not at all, because these are equitable solutions. And I'm so glad that you mentioned Justice Jackson and what was said yesterday. That I pray that people are listening to the Supreme Court hearings, but if you can just catch the clips or catch that 3 minutes of magic where she explained what originalist theory is about and what founders really did intend and what they were thinking and how those are knowable things, and how they wanted to assure equity for freed men, that matters. It was good stuff. And I don't know how many days it was that Clarence Thomas was on the court before he actually spoke, like uttered any words, never mind a question. But I am thankful that with this nominee turned justice, we are not in the same situation.
Scott, look, we've had these white folks sue over affirmative action. Right now, you got these folks suing, holding up the money for black farmers. Look, now forget the fact that $5 billion was allocated for black and other minority farmers, and that white farmers got nearly all of the $25 billion under Donald Trump. I just keep trying to tell black folk, be prepared for this continuing, because at the end of the day, you're going to see more of these battles in these fights because they do not want to give up the money. They don't want to give up the power, and they are going to count on conservative federal judges agreeing with them.
Yep, another reason for our people to come out in major numbers and vote. But this lawsuit is dead on arrival because the executive order is race neutral. White folks, black folks, yellow folks, brown folks all benefit from it. And unless you can show a racial imperative or requirement in the executive order, then you simply have no case. What I thought, and I think I was looking for this lawsuit, is that there's also whether they attacked it under the APA Act. That is that the power to do this is in Congress or through one of the agencies, and that the president usurped the power of the Department of Education here when the agency should go through an administrative process, and an administrative judge or judges ought to rule on this, not the president. But the president has lots of powers under the executive order. But what's more outrageous about this is that the plaintiffs come out and say that the student loan forgiveness program has a disparate impact, positive impact on black folks, and therefore it's unconstitutional. That's like saying that Dred Scott was right, that black people were 3/5 of a human being, and this executive order makes them whole, right? So I don't know where they filed it, but if they filed in federal court, it ought to be subject of a motion to dismiss because it fails on its face for those reasons and those reasons alone.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?